Welcome to Raw Radio.
Hey Gary, we're live.
We are again. They're letting us
Again.
still do this, huh? They haven't shut it
Yeah.
down yet.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Good.
I, Amazing episode this week with Fiona Watson.
Absolutely, she's great.
Yeah, I think a lot of very, very interesting story, but also a very strong message from
Yeah,
Fiona as to how her attitude was shaping her entire plan from the beginning to the end, and from very, very early on in her age towards the adult life where she is right now. And not even that, actually, towards the future, right? There's a lot of plans behind that. What was
yeah.
your biggest takeaway from the episode?
Well, I think considering everything that's going on in the world right now, that she has kept a positive attitude, not only through this wonderful year of 2020, but well before that. It was established and it has carried her through this time, and she's using it to propel herself and her academy further in the future. And so I think my biggest takeaway was definitely just that positivity. We even touched on it a little bit in the episode, talked to her about it and how it's gotten her where she is. And so that for me was definitely the biggest takeaway.
Do you think that's easy today to be really positive in the same fashion as Fiona was talking about? Because this is more than just I have a great day. This is,
Yeah,
there's more to it in life. Like, this is the lifestyle, if you will, quote unquote, is the way how you wake up, is the way how you carry yourself throughout the day, and the way how you end your day. Do you think it's so easy to do this? I mean, how is she doing this?
no, well, she's doing it because she's always done it, right? I think if you were trying to change your attitude in a time like this, or at any time, it's probably a lot more difficult. But it sounds like it's something that she's carried with her for a long time. I know I personally never, I hadn't had a positive attitude until fairly recently. Actually, if you take into consideration my age and everything I've been through in life, I always looked at problems as problems. I never looked at obstacles or problems as challenges. Right? It wasn't something I needed to get over or get around. It was always something that was in the way. And I think that when you meet people like Fiona, who think that take the approach that it's a challenge, right? What can I do to learn from it to be better? When she talked about leaving college and starting your own academy right out of college, and living at home with her parents, she I believe she said there were challenges along the way, right? It wasn't there were problems and I couldn't do this or I needed help with that. It was looking at it as a challenge, and then rising up to it, right, and figuring it out. And I think we talk a lot about that actually here at the academy. Um, Even when you explain techniques like in the fundamentals class, it's never a problem. It's a challenge, right? It's an opportunity. You use that word a lot, right? It's an opportunity when something happens on the mat. So I think you have to look at those as opportunities too when it's in real life. Not pie in the sky, right? It's not make believe, but it's like a determination factor to change your mindset into thinking that way.
Yeah, and I think to be clear, we are not talking about every day is beautiful. We rainbows and unicorns, and
You
life is
like that one, don't you?
peaceful.
Rainbows and unicorns.
Life is beautiful, and nothing ever happens. That's not what we are talking about. But life has its own obstacles, has challenges. We all face things every single day that we have to maneuver through. um but having optimistic view on life, where you acknowledge these things happening around you, um but how much control do you have over these things? And I think that's the important things that I kind of notice with Fiona particularly, right? The things that you can't control, you not necessarily disregard, but you acknowledge the fact that they're out of your control and you have minimal impact on them. But there's a a large set of things, events and items in your life that you can control in 100%, and those you can impact, right? So things
Yeah.
like surrounding yourself with the right people to achieve your goal, I think that's huge, right? How many times you found yourself in a group of people and one of them starts talking gossip or negative, makes a negative comment, and then the entire group just follows that lead.
Right.
And then on the flip side, how many times you surround yourself intentionally with positive people, maybe not positive, but optimistic people, people who have a same mindset as you do, and your day just somehow magically, well, it's not really magically, but somehow end up on the positive side. You can work together, you can achieve the common goals, you can thrive towards where you want to be, and you're not being dragged back, you're not getting pulled back into this negative vortex. What I call negative vortex is just, once it starts, it's very difficult to get out of it.
Yeah, I think so. Um, there's something called R factor, and I forget who came up with it, but a lot of people have followed it. In my past career, we would take a class about it once a year. I only did it the one time, but the one big takeaway I had is you own your response. You can't control what other people do. You can't control the situation, right? You're an object in that situation, but you can control how you respond to it. And I think that's a great way to talk about it, because it makes it a more realistic idea than like a theory, right? You're not. It's not this. It's not something that isn't graspable, or obtainable. It's you can take the time. Okay, I can't control the situation. It's probably already happened. You're probably already involved in it. But how do I respond to it? And I think people like Fiona respond to their situations with a positive outlook. They accept it as a challenge, and they own their response to make things better for themselves and the people around them.
Yeah, and I think that's the big point, right? How do you respond to the situations? What's your response to when somebody's talking to you in a fashion that maybe you disagree with? I mean, that's very common these days. There's a lot of friction and between topics of different kinds of, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be listening to these people. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have conversations with the people who disagree with you. It just means that you can control what you say and how you say it. And I think on that
Yes.
topic, what struck me really quite heavy with Fiona particularly is being nice and smiling to people. I mean, as simplistic as that sounds,
Oh yeah, yeah.
do
When
you
she
recall
talked
that when
about,
she
yeah,
said
yeah, yeah, for sure.
entering to her academy and everybody smiles, everybody says hello, and all that sets the precedence of what is going on within that culture,
Yeah.
within the environment. And it's, I mean, we talk to kids about this often, right? Smiles are
Hmm.
contagious, and it
Yeah.
is not. It is such a simple task, but yet I think sometimes it's so difficult for us to just make the very simple gesture of
Hmm.
shaking somebody's hand. Well, maybe today that's not
I know what you're going for, though. Yeah.
exactly. Like, all right,
Yeah,
never
you're
mind. Let's
making
skip
an
that.
acknowledgement.
Right, right. Saying hello, right?
Yeah.
Waving the hand, giving somebody a pat on the back, even smiling, even raising the eyebrow. I mean, all these different gestures create a relationship. That's one, but number two, create this acknowledgement between people,
Hmm.
knowing them that, hey, listen, I'm here for you. I'm listening to you. I'm actually hearing you. Right? That's a
Yeah.
separate topic. Listening and hearing. That's two different
Two
things. But
different things.
absolutely right. But you're acknowledging, and that's how you can communicate
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
even words.
I got what I always think of as a good example of this is we've had a lot of pretty impressive people on the mats here, pretty big names.
Mhm.
And the person that impressed me the most, that had nothing to do with their skill on the mat, it had nothing to do with what they taught us. It was when they walked in or out of the locker room, onto the mat, uh, finished fixing up their belt, and Professor Eric Butler went through the entire class and shook everybody's hand and introduced himself to everyone instead of going and hanging out with the special guest or going and hanging out with the other black belts who kind of everybody kind of congregates, right? All the white belts
Mm-hmm.
are here, all the blue belts are here, purple and brown belts sometimes they hang out together.
Mm-hmm.
But he made a point to say hello to everyone and to shake everyone's hand. And that is the biggest takeaway I took from that night, was that, him doing that. And
Yeah, that's huge.
and I think that type of thing can change people's lives. It teaches you that if this guy's doing it, why aren't I? You know, how do I change myself to make those type of impressions? So, and I think it all comes back to that positivity and that positive attitude.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just simple things, shaking hands, giving a pat on the back, smiling, or saying hello could change literally not only your day, but somebody else's day. And then think about it, as naive that all this sounds, as cliche all this is, I mean, if everybody did it right, how much better this place would be, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure.
So I think what we are both saying here is that being optimistic and being positive is really, really up to us. There's a lot of negative around us right now, and it's really up to us how we control these situations. And simple things like surrounding yourself with people that you want to be surrounded by, or having a good conversations with people, respecting their views and
That's
smiling, saying hello, right? All these little things that really make a huge difference.
Yep, I agree 100%.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up, and
All right.
there's so much more ahead of us, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure we'll touch on this subject again at some other time. But yeah, let's call it a day.
All right. Let's stay optimistic.
I'll try. Peace. I'll see you later.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.